próprio Náutico lá em Goiânia e contra o... Olha lá, dedo em riste e tudo ali nessa discussão.
Teve dedo no rosto e tudo.
Ah, man, my flipping, I dislocated my frontal lobe receptor. My man doesn't even have a frontal lobe to recept, bro. Excuse me, sir. Listen, I'm gonna need you to calm down. Ref, come on, he's obviously time wasting. No, I mean you're holding a C4, you're a physio. Why would you? This is Brazil. Am I not allowed to do that? Well, don't answer that. Listen, he's clearly fooling you. Okay, well, you're the physio. Just take him off on a stretcher if it's that bad.
Se descontou. Ih, rapaz! Que é isso?
My flipping rear receptor's been twisted as well. Oh my god, this kid. That's not even a thing, mate. Yo guys, it is your boy Inter here, and you are watching FTW. This, of course, the series where I bring to you the best and more frequently the worst of what football has to offer during the last 7 days. What's been kicking off in the world this week? Well, Sainsbury's have announced they're introducing a new VAR-like system to stop shoplifters. Fuck it takes long enough to do my groceries. I don't need a 10-minute hold-up for it. Yeah, look, listen, I'd say it's more hand to ball than ball to hand, boss. Given. Oh, come on, man. Gary Neville will be getting excited on commentary duties when a shoplifter stuffs Maltesers in his pocket, and I'll be left devastated when I can't take home my bulldog noodles because my left trainer was slightly offside. Man, I love football. That's the only reason I've got that poster on my wall, I swear down. Recently, football has been immense. Barca and Inter scoring goals, drama left, right and centre. Arsenal were there as well.
When is it gonna end?
But we start with the other Champions League semi-final, and what a semi it was. Pause.
The champions in the box. I've never seen anything like this.
Inter won potentially one of the greatest ties in Champions League history, taking a 7-6 aggregate win after a 4-3 thriller of a second leg. Last time I saw legs these strong, it was for a succulent Chinese meal. But this time, sit down, get your prawn crackers out, what did you call me? And enjoy, because this was crazy. Now going into the game, obviously it's 3-3 on aggregate. It's fair to say there was a slight difference in preparation between the two sides on offer. Inter were firmly about to power of a Miche their way to the UCL final. Now one key factor as far as Barcelona defensively was concerned is the amount of offsides they've managed to incur from their opponents. It's twice as many as any other team in Europe. Inter knew exactly what football boots they'd be bringing to this occasion. Lookin, meanwhile, was seen flying with supporters, Barcelona fans, on a flight to Milan. People thought he was going for the game, but in actuality he was going for Fashion Week. The plane's Inter Milan supporting pilot was realising exactly what he's got to do. Jules Koundé turning round to see that the exit door's been opened above the Pacific Ocean. Why am I even above the Pacific, fam? We're going from Spain to Italy. Lamine Yamal, meanwhile, upon exiting his flight, could be seen with a lollipop in his mouth. Bro is actually 12 years old, isn't it? Either that or it's a ciggy that Wojciech Szczesny smuggled on board. Now, when Lamine entered the field of play to warm up pre-kickoff, he was getting booed by Inter fans. His reaction? To smile to them. And after a 3-3 titanic action-packed clash in the first leg, little did we know the second leg would be even better. Despite early pressure from the Catalan side, Inter would open the scoring after Barcelona's high line went Ange. Oh, mate. Inter ultras were swearing like I've never seen people swear before, and life would get even better for them when Pau Cubarsí put in a challenge on Lautaro Martinez that looked fine, but a penalty was given. Arsene Wenger was quoted as saying that referees shouldn't be slowing down footage when going to the VAR monitor, and whilst I kind of agree, I do think that that means you get really soft penalties a lot of the time. At the end of the day, Pau Cubarsí, I want it to be a good challenge because he's absolutely blasted his way through, but he hasn't got the ball. So, into a 2 goals up, but they'd still need to watch out for Barcelona in an attacking sense. Simone Inzaghi, I'm sure, will have told his defence to triple mark Yamal. He was getting clamped any time he received the ball. It wasn't helping for the 17-year-old that Jan Sommer clearly didn't have a goal from him in his own acca. Some in the crowd even contemplating why he was depriving a 17-year-old of happiness.
What? But this was a contest for children.
Yeah, and Homer beat their brains out.
Listen, I get all the hype around Lamine Yamal. I think he's a good player, all right? Everyone's talking about his age. I mean, I think it's disrespectful to Ben 10, who I think had achieved far more at a younger age at this point in his career. But all that marking of Lamine Yamal meant that one other attacking threat was left wide open. Eric Garcia. Yeah, fuck knows how he became their biggest attacking output as well. He side foot volleyed in a beauty before a point-blank stop from Jan Sommer denied him a second. Dani Olmo would end up bringing this back to 2-2. It was genuinely like watching Baller League this one. I was half expecting expecting KSI to be on comms. Rafinha then seemed to break into hearts, scoring in the 88th minute and had surely taken Barca through, only for centre-back Francesco Acerbi to pop up in the area with his right foot and cause absolute scenes. A 37-year-old Acerbi seen running off after saving the day. The script writers were spitting here. Oh no, sorry, that's just Inigo Martinez. Some of the action we were seeing in this game could barely even be described. Some supporters had seen enough already. Inter fans who've been caught leaving before Acerbi's equaliser refused entry back into the San Siro. Quite right as well. Who the fuck leaves early at 3-2 in that sort of game? Then into extra time we would go, and Italian hero Davide Fratesi would be the difference maker, slotting one into the bottom corner to make it 4-3 on the night and send Inter through. Absolute cinema. Honestly, make these two teams just keep playing for the rest of the night. Every week I need to see these lot play each other. Hansi Flick was left devastated, realizing he was the remontade. This game honestly had the momentum of like weekend league. Mikel Arteta must have been fuming watching this one. I saw someone tweet saying if you have this game on FIFA, you just send GG to the other player and keep it moving. Inter meanwhile took to Twitter to announce that 120 minutes in the San Siro was a long time, a dig at Real Madrid, and it's a shithousery award for the Champions League finalists. It's a tough day to be a Barca fan after this one, and the players weren't taking it all that well. Rafinha left devastated on the pitch. You ain't winning the Ballon d'Or, G, I'm sorry. And that's because Jan Sommer is. But Pedri called into question the refereeing display, calling for an investigation into some of the decisions that were made. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you. I was working whilst this game was happening, okay? And I'm not gonna lie, I didn't even really know where this came from. I actually thought the referee did a decent job. There was definitely a foul in the build-up, I think, from Denzel Dumfries. I think that should have been caught, but it was a little bit soft. I would have understood why it was given, though. I can understand them being, you know, frustrated about that. Pedri was easier to move aside than a broom in a tornado here by Inter's defense. Like, if you think this is a foul, football's just not for you, but Spanish football is softer than most other leagues in the world, I think. Elsewhere for Inter, though, and Denzel Dumfries was on fire. Apparently, Manchester United sent scouts to see him in the first semi-final. Scouts in a semi-final of a Champions League. Fam, hire me. I'm watching the game as well. What are United scouts even doing there, by the way? They ain't going to you. But props to Inzaghi, props to this Inter squad, because genuinely making it into a Champions League final again with a team of a net spend of £7.50 on a club card is so impressive. Joining them in the final, though, yeah, it'd be PSG. I can't lie. Arsenal, they're not making it, fam.
And we are
stupid ass niggas. Get them the fuck out.
The Gunners commemorated their last few seasons by coming second in this tie as well, as Arsenal fell at the penultimate hurdle to Luis Enrique's PSG, exiting the Champions League at the semi-final stage. This to confirm 5 straight trophyless seasons for Mikel Arteta. Can't lie, lads, these Arsenal Champions League winners' shirts have aged like a bottle of Cravendale. Meanwhile, Miles Lewis-Skelly's going to be traumatised the next time he sees a pan of chocolat in the Sainsbury's bakery aisle. Raheem Sterling posted that he was ready over on Instagram. No, you ain't. Gee, you're not playing. I can't lie. And as the two sides exited the tunnel, it was clear there was a slight difference in the tifos that we'd seen in the time. Sir Alex Ferguson was seen in the stands there for a hate watch, clearly. Honestly, if he'd gone to Inter versus Barca, he might not have made it out. I'll be so honest. My heart barely made it through that. So now Arsenal started bright here. I'm not gonna lie to you. There were opportunities for Declan Rice and for Martin Odegaard, but Gianluigi Donnarumma proved to be a brick wall here. The Italian seen appearing in Bukayo Saka's nightmares each night. And PSG countered that with Fabian Ruiz scoring the opener. The referee for this game, Felix Vaya, who famously was done for match fixing all the way back in like 2005, and Arsenal would need another favour here. Can't lie though, he must have been offended here when the Gunners offered to pay him their striker fund.
$7? Are you fucking serious?
Because he gave a handball against Miles Lewis-Skelly to give PSG a chance to double their lead.
Penalty! Yes!
No, it's for them. It's for them. Oh, it's for them.
What? Oh, man. Are you actually serious?
Now, personally, his arm is stretched out, I'm not going to lie, but he's also not looking at the ball. I don't think this would have been given in the Premier League. Either way, David Raya actually dived on time this time and saved a penalty. This is what Vitinha thought he was going to do as he was stepping up to take it. Either way, it didn't really matter in the end, as Ashraf Hakimi made it 3-0 on aggregate before Bukayo Saka scored a consolation, then missed the sitter. This new Arteta phase, by the way, is just launching long throws in with an undescribable man. Either way, it was all done. PSG were through. Luis Enrique jokingly called them farmers, and in reality, the Premier League is the Farmers League now, as PSG have knocked out Liverpool, Aston Villa and Arsenal all from the Prem. Arsenal fans on Twitter took this about as well as you would expect, one saying they'd got to a Champions League semi and where the hell were the rest of us. I can't wait for Gunners fans to celebrate their "we made it to the Final Four, then got pumped" trophy. Mikel Arteta meanwhile said that he thought the best team lost.
I beg your pardon?
You were never winning this game once, fam. Not a single moment of this tie were you leading. PSG fans knew it was time to drink in the sadness, and whilst look, I do think Arsenal Arsenal were on top for like the first 20 minutes of this second leg. To say that they were the better team is crazy. Donnarumma was good, but PSG had as many, if not more, gilt edge opportunities. They hit the post, missed a 2v1, and missed a penalty in the second leg alone. Never mind all of the chances they had in the first leg. This man can never admit defeat. Aston Villa put more pressure on PSG than you did. PSG are good. We got beaten. You got beaten. That's it. At least Arsenal fans will be delighted knowing that they won the tie on XG. I'm assuming that stands for expected Gianluigi. Realistically, the winner out of all of this, though, Erling Haaland, realising he hasn't got to watch Miles Lewis-Skelly win something this year. No trophies for Mikel Arteta, but one does go to an even more unlikely source. Let's go! Yeah, Bayern Munich won their 34th Bundesliga title this week, and importantly, Harry Kane's first.
That's about nonsense and all that.
He had to wait for it, though. In a game where he was suspended versus RB Leipzig and the first chance that Bayern had to actually claim the title, they'd come back from 2-0 down to go 3-2 only to concede in the 94th minute to Yusuf Poulsen. Harry looking on, depressed from the sidelines. This is the most Harry Kane thing ever, isn't it, to be honest with you? But they would win it after Bayer Leverkusen dropped points, and look, listen, I don't know if I'm being like a gargantuan, spirit-inducing hater, but it kind of just doesn't feel like he's won something still. And look, listen, he deserves plaudits because he's been good in the Bundesliga. He's probably the best player in the Bundesliga. But when you play for Bayern, winning that division is so easy. Let's be honest though, he doesn't give a fuck what FNG on YouTube thinks, and he can be seen celebrating this first title over on social media, smoking that Leverkusen pack approximately 6.5 seconds after they drop points. Joshua Kimmich gear, by the way, looks like he's about to choke both his lungs out. Either way, Harry Kane wanted to go to Ibiza, only for Bayern higher-ups to deny it. He can be seen in the dressing room after taking all of his Ibiza gear in one go. Now, Real Madrid, it's fair to say, need defenders at the moment. A lot of them are out injured, and they don't have much depth anyway. So they've gone out and signed the one who left Vinny Jr. open in the 2022 Champions League final.
What's wrong with y'all niggas? What's wrong with you?
Yeah, Trent Alexander-Arnold is officially leaving Liverpool. He sat down and explained his reasons, laid out his love for Liverpool fans, and said that Liverpool would always be home to me. Except for him and his vision, that home is a caravan that you consider jumping out onto a motorway hard shoulder from.
You're not my dad! Go for hear something!
He's leaving the club in the same way that Kylian Mbappe left Paris Saint-Germain. Trent can't say no, Mbappe can't say no, refs can't say no. The true pull of Real Madrid. Look, let's be honest, Agent Trent didn't go all that well in trying to get Jude Bellingham to sign for Liverpool, though Lamine Yamal and Rafinha will be excited after seeing his defensive compilation, seeing him arrive in La Liga. Chelsea posted an interestingly timed tweet of Trent getting skinned, saying "see ya" as the caption. It's a shithousery award for the Blues. But let's be honest, the discourse on Trent has been, he's been a little bit all over the place. It's been very polarizing, and to be honest with you, I kind of echo what Jamie Carragher said. I really don't feel like it's valid for fans of other teams to tell Liverpool supporters how to feel. At the end of the day, Trent Alexander-Arnold is one of our own. I mean, I'm not a Scouser, but for Scouse Liverpool fans, he is the embodiment of what realistically they probably want to achieve in their lives as well. So seeing him run down his contract in what does feel like it's been a little bit of a purposeful move is disappointing. I know he doesn't owe the club loads of money. We didn't pay anything to sign him. He's a youth academy prospect. But to run down your contract in that situation and quite literally offer your boyhood club absolutely nothing, it does leave a bit of a sour taste in the mouth. At the end of the day, the kid's won absolutely everything there is to win at this football club. And from my perspective, will always be remembered as like a Liverpool icon, but not a Liverpool legend. And those are very different things. He doesn't get a statue outside of Anfield, for example. I think what was quite telling as well is, you know, in comparison to people like Sadio Mane, the send-off that we as a football club gave him on social media, like, the language is completely different. But to be fair, let's be real, living in England for like 26 years is enough for anybody. So I can't blame him for wanting to live in Madrid. Speaking of Liverpool though, we lost 3-1 to the Blues this week. Clearly still hungover from the drinking the week before. We were at least given our first guard of honor. Moises Caicedo, this could have been you. Meanwhile, Cole Palmer, fueled by smelling Jamaican tonic wine on the breath of Trent Alexander-Arnold, managed to get himself back on the score sheet, breaking into Chelsea's top 10 Premier League scorers. That is a bad reflection of Chelsea, actually, the more I think about it. Speaking of the Blues, and they faced off against Djurgårdens in the Europa Conference League, and to be honest, they'll have been disappointed, you know, to concede. How do you let them score? Like, genuinely, Jadon Sancho's been awful this season. If you're the Swedish side, now the time for the Europa League, and Tottenham were getting ready to face off against Bodo Glimt, and Postecoglou was interviewed and said that it would be a special season if they were able to do something here. Is he taking the piss? It's been a special year in a very different sense, mate. The Bodo Glimt are a massively overperforming side in Norway. Maybe the best run team or football club in the entirety of the world, situated in the Arctic Circle. Them even reaching a semi-final of the Europa League is an incredible feat in its own right. The entire population of Bodo would fit in Tottenham Stadium. The club's got pronouns, for fuck's sake. It has a slash in it. Tottenham would be without Heung-min Son for this first leg. The Korean not able to play for Tottenham. Probably the best day of his season so far. The Tottenham fans have been grilling Bodo Glimt in the run-up to the game, saying the football club looked like a Wi-Fi password, and their fans brought a banner to commemorate that. Spurs flew out the traps and made it 3-0, but a late Bodo Glimt goal gave them a little bit of hope, although one Norwegian fan may have actually been pretty happy with the result, given he had a Tottenham tattoo on his leg. Now, though, it was time for the second leg, and Tottenham needed to travel all the way to the Arctic Circle, and Bodo Glimt fans made them welcome. I'm joking, they absolutely didn't. They set off fireworks outside of Tottenham's hotel room. Jesus Christ, mate, what's all that commotion? It didn't really end up working, as Tottenham won the second leg as well, despite the pitch, or I guess in this case carpet, not quite being pulled out enough to the byline. Either way, a massive story for Bodo Glimt, massive props to them, and Tottenham after the season they've had in a Europa League final. But the question was, who would face them? As in the other semi-final, it was Manchester United versus Athletic Club Bilbao, and an early red card for Bilbao really changed the course of this entire tie, having a defender sent off, conceding a penalty to which Rio Ferdinand celebrated in perhaps the most annoying way possible, all set up by Harry Maguire unlocking 5-star skill moves down the right wing. Amad Diallo commemorated this by posting Maguire-Donna over on his Insta stories, and after a big win to put one foot in the final, Rasmus Højlund said that unlike most Manchester youngsters heading over to Spain, they're leaving with a clean sheet. This man just gets erect whenever he leaves the country. This guy, honestly, he gets horny whenever Manchester United win, and with that, his poor missus mustn't have got any in months. They didn't batter Bilbao again in the second leg. Honestly, the Europa League must be washed, man. Are you seeing the two seasons these teams are having? I was left devastated watching on, realising it was going to be a Tottenham-Manchester United final.
A spokesman said, "This is the one thing we didn't want to happen."
Meanwhile, in the Conference League, we've got our first goal of the week, and it's more because of the sheer surprise of it all, as Anthony stepped up for Real Betis and curled a free kick in off the post. He's now through to the final. What is going on? This guy has got some confidence out of nowhere. It's truly special stuff. Back in the Prem, Arsenal lost to Bournemouth this week. Honestly, it would be so funny if after everything they don't even finish second. Pep Guardiola's been making hinge bios all season and could still beat Mikel Arteta. Arsenal, interestingly, now have pretty much the worst defensive set-piece record in the league, despite the emphasis on how many they score. They should probably hire a set-piece coach, if we're being honest. Nicholas Jova had an epiphany, realising you've actually got to defend set-pieces as well. Brentford beat United in a 7-goal thriller. It's actually mad United losing isn't even a story anymore, to be honest with you. The notification I got on my phone was hilarious. It was literally like, United fall to latest defeat. Latest defeat? Do you understand how rude that is? It was good to see, though, Luke Shaw back playing after lots of injury problems. Unfortunately, it was for Brentford, as he scored an own goal for the Red Devils. Lucas Paqueta broke down in tears for West Ham versus Tottenham after picking up a yellow card this week. Absolutely devastated, clearly, that his bet won't be coming through, knowing a random crime family in Venezuela is about to take his left cousin hostage. At Crystal Palace, and shout out to Berry Eze, who became a chess champion this week. This is genuinely so impressive. This is, I don't even really have a joke about this, to be honest with you. That's just sick. Imagine Berry trying to explain, like, the rules of chess to Cole Palmer on international duty next time. Aston Villa won the FA Youth Cup this week. Props to them, clearly producing some very talented players. One of them was left pretty confused when he realised he was celebrating with a pitch invader and not one of his teammates. And at the King Power Stadium, a championship fixture was played early, as Leicester beat Southampton 2-0. The ref clearly packed it in because he couldn't be asked to watch these PC World call centre workers play anymore and went down feigning injury. Jamie Vardy taking up the decision to stop the play by going up to the referee whilst he was on the ground and blowing his whistle for him, all because he wanted to alert a coach that he needed like a line of ketamine to keep him going, one or the other. Now then, in France, and Paris Saint-Germain prepared for their Arsenal game by playing Strasbourg in Ligue 1. The problem is they watched Arsenal lose to Bournemouth and decided to do the same thing. Their starting 11, though, completely changed up. Looked like an exotic cooking recipe, to be honest with you. They saw Desiree Doué play against his older brother, a 22-year-old wing-back playing for Strasbourg, and he even nutmegged him. This is Doué on Doué violence. His older brother will be cleaning him out at the next family barbecue. Can I just say, though, I'm not seeing much praise for Strasbourg. Massive shout out to them. Liam Rosinia's got them playing some incredible football. They had an 18-string passing move before scoring one of the goals here against PSG, and they're also unbeaten in the league in 12 games and just 2 points off second place in the league. For a side like Strasbourg in recent times, that's very impressive. I mentioned PSG, but another side in Paris is making moves. And in fact, all we have to do is travel 40 meters away, because Paris FC, under new, very, very rich ownership, have been promoted from Ligue 2 up to the top flight. Yeah, their stadium is 40 meters away from the Parc des Princes. As I said, they're owned by some of the richest people in the world, part owned by Red Bull. They're going to steamroll everyone bar PSG if they can actually spend. French teams will be looking at their bank balances since the TV deal fell through in comparison. Meanwhile, down in the lower leagues, and there was a crazy incident at Le US Montbazon, I think. I don't know how it's pronounced necessarily, but one of their players, well, he doesn't have have to worry about how to pronounce it because he won't have to say their name for quite some time. After he decided to double foot a referee in protest to a decision that was made, it left the referee unable to work for 9 days or out injured, and he received a 30-year ban for doing it. What is French football, man? I swear down from top to bottom, it's actually crazy. In Spain now, and Marc-Andre ter Stegen's back for Barcelona, and you can tell because you can see one of their goalkeepers diving the wrong way. Honestly, a quadruple amputee might have a better chance of saving shots for these lot. He looks like he's playing Dance Dance Revolution. Elsewhere off the pitch, though, at least it's been good news for Barcelona as they made 1.5 million euros in just 1 hour after the partnership that they announced with Travis Scott ahead of the next El Clasico. Obviously, they're sponsored by Spotify, and that sponsor kind of changes based on artists. For El Clasico, they were selling the shirt for 400 euros, and it has flown off the shelves. Meanwhile, as I mentioned earlier, Anthony is absolutely flying for Real Betis, and he did it yet again in La Liga as well, scoring a last-minute winner versus Espanyol. This man could win the Europa League with United and the Conference League with Betis in the same season. Give him a Ballon d'Or now. In Italy, and Lazio's Falconer is back in the news. He got struck off at the Serie A side after posting loads of pictures on social media of himself naked. He decided to try and sneak into Lazio's 125th anniversary celebrations, but was kicked out and decided to call the police of his own accord. Were his clothes on, though, when he went to the anniversary? That's the real question. Lazio were also in the news after their president was pranked by a man pretending to be a taxi driver. He prank called the Lazio president and then recorded a phone call where the owner of the club said that his players have, quote, shit in their brains. And so do you for falling for a prank from a guy pretending to be a taxi driver asking for important information about a Serie A football club. On Italian television, and I'm not entirely sure what's going on between Milan and Genoa, meanwhile, there's the incredible story of the Inzaghis. I've obviously talked about Simone and his exploits with Inter getting to the Champions League final this week, but massive props to his older brother, Pippo Inzaghi. He's the manager of Pisa and helped them return to Serie A for the first time in 35 years, earning promotion this week, which means you'll have two brothers managing against each other in Serie A next season. And over in Germany, Borussia Dortmund were caught a little bit off guard when Billie Eilish was photographed in one of their away kits. And at Schalke, as per usual, they brought out some sensational support despite being in the second tier of German football, comparing their artwork to Arsenal's tifo in the Champions League. Yeah, it's a shithousery award for the Bundesliga's Weisheit. Now there is time for your final 2 goals of the week. And earlier on I told you of how Aston Villa won the FA Youth Cup. Well, this absolute wonder strike from Cole Brannigan was partly to play, as the ball bounces out of the area and he volleys it back into the top corner with interest. And finally, we're actually staying in England, where Ipswich, already relegated down to the Championship, brought in Julio Enciso from Brighton. The Paraguayan, known for scoring bangers, once again features in goals of the week here, with a proper old school Barclays hit. Honestly, I need this guy in the Prem when they go down, man. I'm gonna be so sad if not. Hello all, and welcome to The Beautiful Game, the segment where we take a look at the poetic and brilliant side of the game that we love. We are back by popular demand for yet more glorious beauty.
Kaya, Iloilo in the Philippines. Melbourne victory for a number of seasons. The mistake. Oh no, he's missed the open goal.
And that concludes The Beautiful Game. Now, in the African Cup of Nations Under-20s tournament, Central African Republic are about to play against the DR Congo. Oh, come on, man. Grandad, is that you? We all know what's going on here, lads.
You're 17.
Yeah, just look older.
There's looking older, and then there's that.
This guy's son is older than James Milner. Divide his age by 2, he's still not eligible for an under-20s tournament. This poor guy is struggling to do even the most simple tasks, dribbling Lucas Aid Sport down himself at half-time. Over in MLS, something booky occurred. Sporting Kansas City faced off against LA Galaxy, who are not having the greatest season, it's fair to say. And that season was absolutely summed up when they lost a game 1-0 against a side that didn't even have a shot against them. Yeah, Maya Yoshida, ex of Southampton, managed to convert the ball into his own net as LA Galaxy lost 1-0, and Sporting Kansas City became the first MLS team to ever win a match having not had a shot all game. That is Boko Haram ball. In Iran, and shout out to Tractor FC, who won their first ever league title. They made headlines for the crazy attendances they've been pulling recently, and fans were absolutely loving it, even bringing their own tractor to the celebrations. Staying in Iran, shout out to Farshad Gassemi, who took the opportunity whilst playing for Fard Al Borz to propose to his partner. Love is in the air. and it makes me sick. There was composure needed to propose out on the pitch, and there's composure needed for this type of penalty at Midtjylland. The one-step pen seemingly always does a job. In Brazilian Serie D action now, and Sampaio Correa had an unusual commute to their next league match, as they had to get on a ferry to cross over like a river or big body of water, the likes of which you only, I feel like, get in Brazilian or South American or Amazonian football alike. Speaking of South American football, and John Duran is one of the most exciting players to come out of there, even with his move to Saudi Arabia. Although that move to Saudi seemingly is having an effect on him already with his finishing for Al Nassr. At Besiktas in Turkey, and one fan celebrated their victory against Fenerbahce, a result that's really helped out Galatasaray in this horse mask in the middle of the street. And in Estonia, the manager of Nome Kalju has found an innovative way to get around a touchline suspension. He climbed onto the top of the stadium so he could still watch all of the action occurring. Yeah, nah, this is brilliant. Like, actually one of my favourite stories in a while. Closer to home, and it won't surprise you whatsoever to know that Watford have sacked their manager. Yeah, Tom Cleverley, who had been brought in and was doing a very, very good job, has been sacked by Watford's now pretty notorious Italian owners. This is the 12th sacking of a manager since 2019, and although Watford had been in absolutely appalling form, the reason for that is there's no stability at this football club. Get the owners out of there. On the flip side though, and shout out to Frank Lampard, who's done an unbelievable job with Coventry. They're on the way up. They were 17th when he took over, and he's now managed to get them into the playoffs. And I owe him an apology. I made a video about how bad English managers have been recently, and I included him in there, although not as bad as some of the others. He's really turned things around there, so fair play. I think their sporting endeavours summarised by the fact that their winger from Japan, Tatsuhiro Sakamoto, who'd never played darts before, managed to throw 180 in his first ever attempt at the sport. At Burnley, and they secured promotion of course recently, they were celebrating with Natasha Bedingfield in the dressing room. Meanwhile, at Millwall, they narrowly missed out on the playoffs, but at least they'll earn themselves miss of the season for the Championship. Luton Town have had a disastrous campaign. After relegation from the Premier League down to the Championship, they find themselves getting relegated again to League One now, on goal difference behind Hull. They went from the National League all the way to the Premier League, and now they're halfway back already. This shirt is cursed, by the way. They've worn it 2 seasons in a row and got relegated both times. Honestly though, this is still probably like the 4th best thing that's happened in the history of the town of Luton. Speaking of absolute shitholes, and next up is Milton Keynes, MK Dons have announced a new badge, circular in shape, which is apparently inspired by the roundabouts in the area.
Oh, the go's got it. The go's got.
Meanwhile, down in League 2, and congratulations to Bradford, who with a 96th minute winner booked their place into the automatic promotion spots and into League 1, and the scenes there at Valley Parade were absolutely incredible. Now elsewhere, a set of Hibs fans had to let everybody know they were still fans of Hibs despite having to travel to a game in an Aberdeen bus, that because their usual bus company had cancelled on them. Well done to Esperança over in Andorra, who at the 25th time of asking, as you can see here, grabbed their first win of the season. In Belgium, and Crossing Schaerbeek earned their promotion to the 3rd division of Belgium, and celebrated by whacking a trophy on the back of a donkey. There's the story of David Rabanales, who travelled to the Beach Soccer World Cup in Seychelles, what a place to be by the way, I love that, as the only fan of Guatemala, who have qualified for the tournament, and he is their only supporter. That is dedication. An 11,000-mile journey. In the Polish second tier, and there is absolutely no giving up as far as Kalichukwu Aibtorti is concerned, as he kept on running round the goalkeeper and stuck it in the back of the net. And there is absolute madness going on in the Finnish Cup, with this 6-4 result and a red card apiece. I need the highlights immediately. Now that it's time for Still 0-0, you guys know the score by now. This is a segment of the show where I bring to you the best of Sunday League and amateur football. And this time, we're actually going pretty high profile. Angry Ginger's obviously made a name for himself for many a thing, but he also runs a Sunday League club as well, where he invited Luke Littler down to make his Sunday League debut, who came off the bench and managed to grab himself and score a penalty. This kid may well be the future. Forget Lamine Yamal. No, genuinely, seriously. It is nice to see Luke Shaw playing again. On to the weird stuff though now. First of all, we head to Vanuatu in Oceania. I love this series, man. Where there is drama in the OFC Women's Champions League. A side called Panama Tigers have had to pull out of the tournament a matter of hours, a matter of days before it was meant to kick off. Now, this isn't ideal, you know. Now, obviously, this has an effect on them, but it has an effect on all of the other clubs involved as well. So the OFC obviously haven't taken a liking to it, but in fairness to them, it's not really their fault. They've actually been stranded in Fiji with visa problems, and it means they can't travel out of the country. Organisation Civilization is very difficult in the Oceania region because everything naturally is so far away. There isn't really the infrastructure. So hopefully they've managed to get out of there. They will still be incurring a $40,000 fine though. And finally, we head to Nottingham Forest, where Harry Toffolo has been struggling with injuries and struggling with cramp. Now, he was recommended a very different style of medicine, a very different style of treatment to what you would usually get. Was it a rub down? Was it a massage? No. He was told to drink loads of pickle juice. Yep, he drank like 6 jars of it or something ridiculous. I hate to break it to you, Harry, but someone's just been taking the piss. There's no medicinal. That, though, is going to wrap up football this week, and I hope you have enjoyed it. If you have, then feel free to slap a like on the video, and of course, subscribe if you are new to the channel. You can also follow me on social media. It is at officialfng on Twitter and on Insta. But it's been a pleasure ranting at you guys today. Have a wonderful day, enjoy yourselves, and goodbye.